Thanks for dropping in to Get Out of Your Way, a confidence overhaul podcast for those souls that desire bigger and bolder lives. I'm your host, Meg, dishing out the truth about moving into your confidence zone. Because sometimes it's really the stuff we hide from that holds us back. So sit back and relax as we dive into this week's confidence conversation. May it help you shift into becoming the badass that you desire. Hey guys, welcome back to Get Out of Your Way. So this past week, or a few weeks, my family has been battling with a massive case of head lice. For any of you parents out there who've dealt with head lice, you know exactly where I'm coming from when I say, holy fuck, what a job. We caught it early, thankfully. It was, the whole situation went from massive panic to taking a couple of deep breaths and handling it to having a reinfestation and to complete meltdown in myself. And what I learned in the process and what was pointed out to me while this was all happening was, one, how much I've grown. Had this happened probably 3 years ago, in around there, before I did all this work, had it happened then, I probably would have lost my mind. I would have just burnt the whole house down and started new because, it's a lot of work. And if you haven't dealt with lice, you are fortunate and blessed. And I hope to high heavens that you never ever have to experience it. It's not deadly. It's gross, but it's not life threatening. It's just really time consuming. There's a lot of work that is involved in eradicating the bugs and the way the life cycle works. It's just kind of a pain in the ass. But anyways, had this all happened 3-4 years ago, like I said, I would have burnt the house down. But this time I was able to, have a mini meltdown and then handle it. I calmly sat the kids down, picked through their hair, braided it, treated us, did all the laundry, copious amounts of laundry. I thought that was going to be the death of me, but I got it done. And I thought we were good. And the second lesson that I learned was when the reinfestation happened. And I had my meltdown thinking that I did not do enough. That I didn't do enough to get rid of it the first time, and that I was a failure because this happened again and it shouldn't have happened again. I should have been more thorough. All these things were running through my head, and I, through the meltdown, felt like a disappointment to my partner, especially because we had moved into his house. So, it's our house now, but we'd moved into his house, and my initial thoughts and my initial mind games that were being played in my head were, I've now brought my 2 kids into his house and infested it, and he's going to think I'm disgusting and not want to be with me. And I should have figured this out on my own before he returned from work. And I didn't. And I felt like a failure. So when he walked in the door and I had caught the second infestation, or actually I think it was the first infestation. It was just like it wasn't completely eradicated like I originally thought it was. And I broke down. I was sobbing. His welcome home was me in the kitchen with my head full of isopropyl alcohol and wrapped, and I was sobbing. I was a hot mess. And I just kept repeating, like, I failed, I didn't do enough, I should have done more. And he looked me dead in the eyes and said, you are enough. There's nothing more you could have done but what you've already done. You're only one person. And a job that big needs to have a team and not one person. So he wasn't surprised that it happened, and he wasn't disgusted, and he wasn't about to kick me out because I was gross. And that reminder just reminded me that I and you, we are enough. We are enough exactly how we are. We don't need to overextend ourselves to be something different. If we're doing the absolute best that we can on whatever day, because that's going to look different every day. If we're doing the absolute best that we can every day, then that's all we need to do. What we are placing on ourselves are our own perceptions of what people expect of us. So unless somebody's actually legit looking at you and saying, I expect you to do this, it's up to you, if you aren't able to maintain that expectation, to set a boundary and say, look, like, I'm not physically or mentally or spiritually capable of meeting your expectations. And so either you need to reformat your expectation of me, or we can't be in a relationship, whatever kind of relationship that might look like. So stop placing expectations on yourself, for one, because when you place expectations on yourself that over exceed your capabilities, you're going to end up in those sobbing hot mess moments like I did, thinking that you're failing. But you're not fucking failing. You never have been failing in your life. And any setback that you may have had, that you may have coined or, named as a failure, that's not necessarily you failing. That's you tripping, picking yourself up, learning, and moving forward. Those are the things that we need to have. And I said it in other episodes, like, we need to have those trips. We need to have those falls. We need to stop overusing the word failure, because you're not failing if you try. You're not failing if you don't succeed the first time you give it a go. That's not a failure. That's a setback. The only time you're actually going to fail is if you don't try at all. That's failure. So in this entire experience, I did everything I possibly could the first go round. I do everything I possibly could to keep my family happy and healthy. And I need to remember that even when I struggle, even if I trip and fall, that I'm not actually failing them, and I'm not failing myself either. All I'm doing is learning a new way to do things that matches the energy that I'm able to provide. Because let's be honest, sometimes we don't have the energy to meet high expectations that we may place on each other or on ourselves. Some days you're going to only be able to perform at 25%. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay. Other days, you might be able to put out 150%, 200%, maybe 400%. But you're going to have those days where you're only able to put out 10, 5, maybe 2%. But allow yourself to have those days of 2%. That's called a rest day. It's not called failure. You're allowed to have your rest. Your body needs to rest. Your body needs to know that it's safe to take a step back sometimes. And if you continuously place these expectations on yourself day in and day out, you're not allowing your body to have that safe rest. Because whenever you go to rest with those expectations, you're going to think you're failing. So this is my reminder to you and to everybody out there. In my struggle through these last couple of weeks, and I'll tell you, through this struggle, there were about 4 million times where I wanted to give the fuck up. I wanted to throw in the towel and say, I'm done, shave my head. And if you haven't seen pictures of me at all, I have dreadlocks. So lice for me is a scary, scary endeavor. But I didn't give up. In fact, I started a workout routine midway through it. I now go to the gym 6 days a week. So it's possible. It's possible to know within yourself that you are safe. You're allowed to have mini meltdowns. You're allowed to have mini freakouts, but bounce back. That's the important part. You need to bounce back, and you need to know that it's okay. It's okay to trip and fall, but don't label it as failure. You're not failing. You're not failing if you keep trying. And I'll say it again, over and over again, probably in multiple episodes in the future. If you keep going, no matter how small the step you take, if you continue moving forward, you are not failing. You are doing the thing. And just like in the gym, in order to gain muscle and to gain strength, you have to tear those muscles just a little bit so that they can regrow a little bit bigger. And that's mentally what you need to do as well, is you need to have those moments of tripping and falling to grow better, to grow bigger, and to grow stronger. If you had your life easy peasy, nothing happened, and everything was handed to you, do you think you'd be a strong person? I don't think so. I think that if you were handed everything and all of a sudden one day everything disappeared, you would actually fall on your face. So going through struggles like this, whether it seems like you're constantly on the struggle bus, where like everything that you do, you seem like it's not working, nothing's working, and you have that mentality, that mindset that I keep fucking failing at everything. But you're not failing at everything. You're tripping and you're learning. You're tripping, you're getting up, and you're relearning how to do it a different way. That's absolute strength. The only time you would fail in a situation like that is if you absolutely gave up. So don't give up. Keep moving. Keep making those tiny mistakes or big mistakes. Because one day you're going to look back and go, wow, all the shit that I went through, and look at how far I've come. And that's another thing that I realized through this entire thing. Going through lice and then starting the gym and still focusing on my own health and well-being while struggling to keep my kids bug-free and myself bug-free for that matter, is the perseverance. You need to go after what you want, for one. But that's a whole other episode. But strength. And like I said at the beginning, had this all happened 4 years ago, I would have thrown in the towel. I would have burnt the house down. I would have run away. I would have given up and just cried and not known what to do. But I kept moving. And I'm happy to say that we are bug-free. And with the support of my partner and my kids and my ability to go and escape to the gym every night, we were able to make it through. And I look back now and realize that I felt a little bit silly, thinking that I was a failure in my relationship because of a little case of lice. We're stronger than that. And I know that. And I know that even more now with the reminder that I was given. So my mission to you, listeners, is make a reminder for yourself, if you need to, that you are so enough, just as you are right fucking now. You don't need to do anything more other than keep growing and don't give up. That's it. So be bold, be brave, and create adventure wherever you go. I'll see you all next week. Thanks for joining me today. For more truth and badassery, head on over to megnicole.coach on Instagram. If this podcast happened to rock your world and you think it might rock someone else's as well, be sure to share it. Perhaps we can all be a part of changing someone's view on life. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Catch you all next week.